creativity isn't always on the surface, and I want to expand on this. Within fashion, you'd usually look at a concept, and that could be landscapes or perfume bottles or even archival clothing. And you'd look at the associations it might have, the historic references, or your experience with that particular idea. But while you could look at something so niche like, let's say, a pillow from a certain period of time, one might just see it as something so ordinary, nothing special. I mean, how can you create a collection from that? But that really stops you from seeing it from a different angle when you don't allow yourself to really dig deep and explore that idea. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's take these bouquet flowers. One might just see it as some white flowers in a big vase, right? Nothing special. But if you look at it from that angle, once again, it's limiting. So let's sit with it and let's start to think about how we can look at it. So my association with it is a recent encounter when I was in Ampuana in Madagascar, and I was sat on my own and I was doing some sketching, and I had a flower and I put it underneath some paper and I sort of traced over it. Actually not even traced, I sort of used a 5B, 6B pencil, and I was just getting the shadows from that petal and flower, and it was really beautiful. And then I had some kids come over and we were doing it together, so that was a really nice association. So I'm just thinking of that, and then I'm also looking at maybe the shadows. When you're looking really closely towards it, you're seeing the shadows and you're seeing streaks as well, almost like stripes, and I think that's very beautiful. You might even look at it up close, and I'm looking at the leaves and they're sort of dried slightly, so I might look at how I can incorporate that in like a sketch, a quick sketch, maybe a 5-minute sketch or even a 30-minute sketch. I could do the both, and that's already given me another idea. What else can I look at? I can even put it on a mannequin. That's probably a really good start as well. Put it on a mannequin and see the shapes and silhouettes that you start to form. That's already really starting to give you an idea of how you can directly take a concept onto a body, which is really great. But these are just a few examples. You could really stretch it and look at it from another point of view. It's almost like you've got a magnifying glass and you're really zooming in and you're just noticing things that you wouldn't otherwise. The beauty in the mundane, just looking at it from different angles, and you're really going to pick up on things. I mean, there's even things inside that I hadn't even noticed otherwise, or areas that have dried slightly. You know, there's so much to take from that, and if that's something that aligns with your design inspiration, then that's great. Flowers are a great starting point. So that's just one thing I'd take. Something else is that as we all have social media, it's really incredible to have, because we have things on our fingertips. Like, we have things so close to us that we can find the answers to within seconds. I mean, we have ChatGPT and AI, other software systems. So, you know, it's really lucky and fortunate that we have these things in place. But with that comes the downsides, because it doesn't allow the space for individuality. I'm not saying that creativity is dying. What I'm saying is that how we're using these platforms, such as Pinterest or TikTok, Instagram, these things that are so ingrained into our routine, where we wake up in the morning and we go straight onto it. I'm not saying that they're terrible, and I think it's not the best idea to say the world's dying because we have social media. But I think you've got to be really careful with where you're getting your inspiration from, because if you're looking at digital references and secondary research, you're not really coming to grips with that idea in mind. And if it means that you have to take that risk and make that jump to go to that place where it's associated with your concept, then I think there's no harm in that, because you're really connecting with that idea, and it will inspire you so much more than a phone will, or a laptop will, when you're looking at the idea from a screen. It just doesn't make sense. I've been in that position where when I first started fashion, I started looking at Pinterest, and there's so many different things. I mean, the whole point of Pinterest is for it to be aesthetic, which makes sense, right? But if I'm looking at that, another 1,000 people are looking at it, then, you know, it's not really my idea, is it? And it was never my idea to start with. It's someone that posted it on there that thought, this is a really aesthetic picture, I'm going to post it. I think we are lacking individuality, and I think you've got to really be careful about consuming your time on social media, because one, it puts you in a position where you feel like you've really got to keep up with it and keep up to date, and, you know, pick up on the next concept or pick up on the next trend, but yeah, it's a bit sad, really, because yeah, I think you have a lot to give. If you give yourself the chance to allow yourself to think and be present in that moment where you're considering your concept, then you'll really start to think of something original and interesting and unique, and something new and fresh, which I think is great. So give yourself that time. That leads me on to this expression, which goes by Mora Mora. My friends will know this actually, Henry and Kat. Mora Mora, which is an expression used in Madagascar, and it means slow, slow. So the reason why I'm saying this is because it's something that, from my encounter in Madagascar, I've kind of taken back to London, and I'm really trying to use, which is sometimes a struggle, but it's just basically saying that you need to go at a slower pace. And I think there's nothing wrong with going at a slower pace, and in the end you might find that you actually produce much more efficient work. Sometimes in the past I've done work and I've continued to do work, and I've found myself in this like rabbit hole where I'm just not producing efficient enough results, and that's because I'm sort of rushing. I'm trying to get to the other side so quickly. But if I, from the start, thought of my concept efficiently and at a slower pace, then I wouldn't have had that problem, because I'm in a position where I know what I'm doing now. I've got my head screwed on, and it's great. So more and more is the way to go. Think of it like that. It's a really good, way of thinking of it. And the Japanese also are great at going at a slower pace, and they make the most incredible work, like let's say in craftsmanship, in ceramics or woodwork. Things are made to last, and things are made to be so well put together and well thought through, and everything has a reason to it, and I think that's a really good message there. So yeah, creativity isn't on the surface, and give yourself the time to expand on those points when you're considering a concept. And yeah, I hope that we can restore what fashion is known for, like creativity. I mean, especially within couture, and many designers saying that has couture died, or has fashion died, like the creativity isn't there anymore. And yes, to a point, we are so used to ready to wear things being produced so quickly and just being worn on the high streets and so on. But that's not to say that we can't be more initiative, or we can't bring back more couture and more craftsmanship and more really well considered pieces, because that's what we really need. We need pieces to last now. We don't need any more fast fashion, and we don't need things to be consumed and mass produced. It's a time now where something new needs to come from all this sadness from global warming and wars and things we've got going on, which again is different. that's a big topic, so we won't go into that, but let's start to rebuild what's been lost, and yeah, I hope it reaches people and other creatives hear this, because I'm excited. I want to really expand on this, and I want to meet others that are really in their own bubble and they're just doing their thing and they're not so fixed on what other people are creating, because they're so, you know, driven by their ideas and their concepts, and they really have confidence in making something amazing. So let's see, but I'm happy that I was able to hopefully help and put my point across. So yeah, till the next. See you.